Hey everyone, so I just wanted to go over a stereo imager trick that I've used on my masters for years now, as far as trying to get your low end a little bit tighter and getting the image in the low to mids, having that more center, tighter feel. Um, Obviously, you can do this with your mix down and trying to mix all your elements in a specific spectrum and band, but there's also just an easy way to do it when you're also doing your master. um, I usually use Ozone 6, and I just opened the imager. And aside from me mixing down all the stems to where I want them, as far as left, right, mid, side, and wherever I put them, I also want to tighten up my master, because all the other elements that are going on within certain bands within the spectrum, there's some elements that start getting lost, or your song starts to get muddy, as most of us call it, and we start losing elements, and a lot of people are wondering why your kick drum's not standing out, or maybe there's too much lows going on, and you're wondering why, because you've EQ'd a lot, and so on. So the main thing I usually do to help out with this process is throw on Ozone 6. You can use 4 or 5, whichever suite you have. And like I said, open it up. You don't need anything else unless you're doing other mastering in the interface here. Do your thing there. But for this specific thing I'm trying to do is just open up the imager, and you can see here in the top, generally all these will be laid out set at 0, and we'll set those out now. Everything you'll usually at default, but what I usually do, the rule of thumb I usually try to play is 80 hertz and below in all my songs. I try to put in a complete mono setting. So basically the kick drum, for example, is going to be in there, and partial, parts of the bass line, obviously. But if you have bass up in this range, some of that won't be in that 80 hertz range. So basically what I do is kind of do trial and error here, while you're playing your song, your main drop. Try to figure out where the elements are being lost in the spectrum. Figure out maybe 100 to 500 hertz, you're feeling a little bit muddy, so you're going to want to move this band left and right to find where things are starting to get cleaned up by this simple little trick. So basically all I'll do is take this main slider here. I'm going to put it all the way down to negative 100. That's basically just going to throw it right into a complete mono mode. And now you can see the color here. Your purple color is matching up with that. So we know that this is the exact band you guys are working with now for this setting. So I'm going to play the song with it just basically off. We can just start here. So you can hear, try to listen left and right, and you'll hear how there's a lot of clutter in the spectrum, in the stereo, because we haven't applied this yet. So try to listen very carefully left and right. So you can hear how there's a little bit of muddiness in the low end. So without that, when I heard that right away when I was mixing this song, I knew, I have to tighten up my width, the stereo bands, a little bit to tighten up that low end. So basically all I'm going to do is apply this down to negative 100, and I'm going to start sliding this a little bit right until I find a really comfortable setting that I feel like my bass and my kick are sitting really tightly. So again, listen to the left, right as I move this band. So you guys see how much tighter that is, that 209, 200 hertz range. Listen to that bass line and how it's going from left to right to more of a mono setting when I bypass this on and off. So I personally like that more tighter sound. Generally I would tell you guys try 80 to 100 hertz range depending on your mix down. Just try that from a default setting to see how tighter that makes things. But sometimes I go to an extreme of like 200 hertz, and I even start ducking out this 200 to 2K range even sometimes to make that a little tighter, depending on your elements and your mix down again. But right away, it's sounding a lot cleaner and clearer, and also punchier when I'm doing this simple little mono setting all the way from 200 hertz. Um, so yeah, I'll even dip this a little bit, and you guys can hear the mids tighten up a little more. And you can see that muddiness in the left right spectrum is starting to go away a little bit. To me, it sounds way more punchier, cleaner, and that's kind of what we want, of course. So yeah, that's it. Stereo imaging. Throw that on your master chain after you guys have applied certain things you need to benefit the master. But yeah, throw that on and try this mono setting here and see if it benefits your low end, your kick, your bass line, and it should clean up a little bit of the muddiness in the spectrum there for you. So try that out. Let us know how it goes. Thanks.